being threatened by Russia.
Thank you. All right, thanks. We don't have a lot of time, guys, because we have to leave at 1:45, I believe, for the president's local travel. Okay, so I have something really quick at the top, and then I'll take a question. So today, President Biden and First Lady are visiting a local COVID-19 vaccination clinic hosted by the DC Health to highlight the recent authorization and recommendation of COVID-19 vaccines for children under the age of 5. This weekend, the CDC formally recommended use of the COVID-19 vaccine for this age group following the FDA's authorization on June 17th. Marking a key milestone that ensures for the first time since the pandemic began that nearly every American can access protections from life-saving COVID-19 vaccines, including our youngest Americans aged 6 months and up. Following the visit, the president will deliver remarks at the White House on COVID-19 vaccines for children under 5 and the historic progress the country has made in fighting COVID-19 with safe, effective vaccines available virtually to all Americans. Go ahead, Josh.
Thanks, Karine. Two subject areas, since I know we're going fast by 1:40. What data is President Biden looking at for the gas tax holiday, and is he expecting congressional support for state-level action?
Well, take your second question first. As you know, the president said he's going to make a decision about this by the end of this week. The way we see it is there would be congressional action. Congress would need to take action. To your first question, the president's looking at an array of options to figure out how he's going to help give relief to the American public, especially as they are looking at gas prices at the pump. This is a #1 priority for the president. He's looking at an array of options. We don't have anything specific for you to share with you at this time.
And then secondly, real fast, what is President Biden's reaction to Texas authorities saying the police response to Uvalde was an abject failure and that the gunman, in theory, could have been stopped within 3 minutes?
You know, this is something that the president has talked about this very deeply. It is very the actions that we have seen and the reports that we have seen is deeply concerning. The president has said that. As you know, DOJ is doing a review. We're going to leave it to their findings and their review before we'll say anything more. But it is deeply disturbing to hear the reports on what happened on the ground on that day. Okay.
On the issue of the federal gas tax, has the White House started reaching out to Congress yet on this, working with members to try and get them on board with this? Because as you know, you would of course need their approval for any suspension.
Absolutely, we would definitely, as I said, need Congress to act on this. I can't lay out, I don't have anything to lay out on any outreach that we've made to Congress. The president, as you all know, understands the stress that the American public is feeling across the country. This is why he has taken action himself when it comes to tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, a historic amount of oil, 1 million of barrels of oil a day, I should say, just to be exact, and also getting his partners to do 240 million barrels as well. There's the ethanol 15, as he has been able to make sure that we give relief to thousands of Americans across the country. So this is something that has been a complete priority for the president. I don't have anything specific to lay out about meetings coming up or meetings that have happened.
And the president said he's not planning to sit down with any oil and gas CEOs as he makes this decision. Why not?
So as I can confirm here, I know it's been kind of been reported out there, Secretary Granholm is going to be meeting with the 7 CEOs on Thursday, this coming Thursday. That's the first step that he wanted to make sure happen. Remember, our goal is to make sure that we have a sit-down conversation where we come up with solutions, that we work with the CEOs and figure out what else that we can do to move that capacity forward. So the meeting is happening on Thursday with Secretary Granholm, and she's going to sit down with the CEOs, and hopefully we have some solutions that come out of the meeting.
The first step is but the president's not ruling out meeting with them.
No, the president spoke to this himself yesterday, which is like he's not going to be meeting with the CEOs. I'll let that stand and speak for himself. The way that we view this is, what I mean by first step is they're going to sit down, have a conversation. The second step is coming up with solution and ideas. Okay.
The
President said last week that there's no inevitability around a recession, but there is a greater deal of market concern about exactly that. And I know that inflation is your number one concern, but can you talk a little bit about if you're doing anything at all to prevent a recession or a rise in unemployment?
So the way that we see this, and you've heard us talk about this, that we're in a moment of transition. We have seen we are in a unique situation with our with the historical gains with our economy. The way that we see it is unemployment rate has held steady at 3.6, which is also near historic lows. Business investment remains strong. Household balance sheets remain strong. There was an analysis that came out recently that showed middle class Americans had an additional $10,000 in savings then before the pandemic. Another analysis found that all income groups had higher checking account balances at the end of March than they had pre-pandemic. So we see that the strengths that our economic strength that we have seen from this past year, from the action that the president has taken with the American Rescue Plan, with what we have seen with the historical gains, that is going to help us deal with a recession. Right now, we don't see a recession right now. We're not in a recession right now. Right now, we're in a transition where we are going to go into a place of stable and steady growth, and that's going to be that's going to be our focus.
And just one more. AAA was out with a report today saying that there's going to be a record number of people driving for the 4th of July holiday, and I'm wondering what that tells you about whether inflation is in fact the top concern for the American people, and whether there's a role for conservation to play given the extreme demands on energy supplies right now.
Well, say a little bit more. You're saying
Americans are happy, it would seem, to go out
I see what you're
and
saying.
to pay as much money as gas costs to go on vacation and do all of the things that they would normally do. In fact, more so than in the past. So what do you think about that? And do you think it's appropriate given the constraints on energy supplies globally right
I mean, look, Americans are going to do what they feel is right for themselves and for their family. That's not something for us to make a judgment on. I think what we're seeing right now is, we've been in a pandemic for some time, and I think Americans are feeling as if this summer it's time to get out and go visit families, and I think that's a reaction that we're seeing there. But I have to say, a lot of that is thankful to the president and the work that he has done to make sure that more than 220 million people are fully vaccinated. That matters. Today he's going to visit a COVID health center where we are going to be able to vaccinate our youngest among us, which is the 0 to 5. That's about 18 million young people, which is a lot of that work is due because of what the president has been able to do, and the American Rescue Plan and the vaccination strategy that he put forward the moment that he walked into this administration. Look, it's not for me to say what Americans can do or can't do, but I do think this is kind of the pendulum swinging as we are more people are vaccinated and more folks are feeling more comfortable and more safe to get out there. Okay. And I'll go to the back in a second. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine. What kind of visibility does the administration have into the, quote, logistical error that prevented Brittany Griner, who's being held in Russia, from speaking by phone with her wife? And how is a mistake like that acceptable given the stakes at this moment?
So this was an unfortunate mistake. And the Department of State is working to rectify this as quickly as possible. From what I understand, there is a phone interview has been scheduled. I'm not going to speak to when. That is up to Brittany Griner's partner to decide, her wife to decide if they want to make that public. Anything else, I would defer you to the State Department.
And does Brittany Griner's wife talked about meeting with the president, or her desire to meet with the president? Is that something that's on the table or an option at this point?
I don't have anything to share about, we don't have anything to share about a potential phone conversation or meeting. What I can say is that the State Department has been in regular touch with Mrs. Griner. She's also spoken to Secretary Blinken, which we have mentioned before. This is certainly any American that is held abroad is a priority for this president. We've spoken to that, and we will do everything that we can to bring them home. Go to the right.
Roe v. Wade.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to go to somebody. I haven't gone yet. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine. So in these deliberations about the gas tax, does the president have concerns about, what are his concerns about endorsing such an idea?
Endorsing
Yeah,
gas
he
tax?
endorses, congressional action on a gas tax holiday. Are there concerns that he has about doing that?
I mean, the president has been very clear in making sure that he does everything that he can to alleviate the pain that American families are feeling when it comes to gas prices. He said all options are on the table. He has not. He said himself, just to reiterate what he said yesterday, he has not made a decision on this. He'll have something more by the end of the week. But this is about making sure that we deliver for the American people as it relates to gases, as it relates to increase in cost. And so, we have said this from day one, all options are on the table.
What are the drawbacks that he sees? And does he think an endorsement could help Republicans get on board if it requires
what I'm saying is I'm not going to get ahead of the president right now. He has not. We have not laid out this decision. Once we have, I'm happy to have that conversation right here or in my office, however you wish. But right now, all options are on the table. He's going to do everything that he can to make sure he relieves some pain and some pressure that the Americans are feeling at the pump.
Question about Pierre, please.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Does the president have any thoughts on the Colombian elections this weekend, and does he have any plans to speak to the president-elect?
I don't have any calls to read out to you at this time. The United States congratulates the people of Colombia on a free and fair election. The president looks forward to working with President-elect Petro and to advance the U.S.-Colombia relationship and tackle key issues together, including climate change, building more fair and resilient economies, security, and more. I don't have a call to read out at this point or to announce at this point.
When it comes to the federal gas tax, former President Obama has called it a gimmick back when it was being considered during his administration. A number of Republican and Democratic congressional leaders over the years have said the same thing. It saves people a couple of dollars when they fill up, but it decimates the highway trust fund. Why is it suddenly on the table for this president when it seemed like it was an idea that the White House had sort of set to the side for months?
Well, the president has always said all options are on the table. This is one of those options. He was asked a question yesterday and he answered it. I don't want to get ahead of the president. We don't have anything to announce at this time. Once we do, we will, and be happy to answer all the questions around that decision once and if he makes that decision. But again, he has said, he has been very clear, he wants to make sure that he is, dealing with what the Americans are facing at the pump, which is high prices due to inflation, due to part of it is the pandemic, part of it is Putin's war on Ukraine and the Putin's tax hike. So he wants to do everything that he can to make sure that we are answering those calls of trying to lower the cost.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Anything to follow up?
Okay. Well, thank you guys. How about? Well, I actually have to go with him today, so I can't stay. But I'll take one more question. I'll take a question. Phil, I know you had you had a question. No? Oh, you're passing. You're passing. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Can you confirm that the White House intends to issue a rule on reducing nicotine levels in cigarettes? And if so, can you give us some details about that?
I'm not going to comment on any leak information. I have no final decision to preview at this time. But what I can say is one of the president's key unity agenda item is ending cancer as we know it, including by reigniting the Cancer Moonshot Initiative. Already have been steps from the FDA to address the impact other tobacco products like methanol and flavored cigars have on the American people, as I've mentioned here before. And I will take this opportunity to remind everyone that what the Office of Management and Budget regulatory agenda is and is not. agencies place on the regulatory agenda a list of all the proposed and final rules they are currently planning to issue in the months ahead. However, no policy decision has been made at this time, and I don't have anything else to preview for you at this time. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Next.